We're delving into the news that matters, taking a look at all of the issues associated with this giant change to world governance. President Trump bringing forth these tariffs step by step, risk on, risk off, tariffs on, tariffs off. He got elected. He put the tariffs on Mexico and Canada, took them off. Put them back on, took them off. What do we have now? We have a free entry under the USMCA, a free trade agreement that was negotiated during the Trump 45 presidency, which President Trump is honoring. Goods that are USMCA compliant from Canada and Mexico still have entry into our country free. President Trump has imposed 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel from wherever it comes from in the world. 25%. President Trump has protected the automobile industry, the first president in quite a long time that has said, we're keeping an automobile manufacturing business here in this great country. 25% starting at 12:01 a.m. May 3rd on automobile parts. And automobiles are already getting taxed at a 25% rate. Yes, we're going to have American-made cars and light trucks. Coming soon, the sector of pharma will be protected. And after all, think about how crazy this is. We're not making the drugs that we need here in our own country. That's wild, right? If you're on a drug, think about how vulnerable your well-being is when what you need for medication has to come across the ocean on a container ship. That's a very long supply chain if your life depends on some kind of pharmacological agent. And then semiconductors, which are the backbone of artificial intelligence, that is going to be protected. These four sectors, steel and aluminum, automobiles, pharma, semiconductors, there is broad bipartisan support. That means the uni party, the status quo, has decided that President Trump is correct. And in fact, President Biden was down with some of this stuff, that these four industries are going to be protected. These 25% taxes on these goods are going to be around a very, very long time. Now we have what President Trump called reciprocal tariffs. They were risk on, risk off. Just last week, President Trump stood there with that chart. Whoa, Cambodia, 49%, Vietnam, 46%, Thailand, 36%, Indonesia, 32%. And everybody went, whoa, this dude is not playing around when he talks about balancing the trade. That's going to be crazy, right? No, no, no. President Trump understands the dire situation we find ourselves as regards the finances of this republic. The interest payment on that $37 trillion federal debt exceeds the spend on defense. It's $1.2 trillion. And the previous Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, in her own inimitable style, chose to finance $8 trillion of debt that came up during the Biden administration to come due this year. She could have financed it for 30 years at 1%, but instead she has it all coming due right now, $8 trillion, which is going to add another $300 or $400 billion to the interest payment every year. And there's a baked in structural deficit of $1.5 trillion. You know, this is big money, and this is an avalanche of debt getting ready to crush this country. And President Trump has come forward, and he's looking at it like a businessman. We, the people, elected a businessman. And if you're a Democrat and you're listening and you didn't vote for him, this is the system of the human will, of free will that has been constructed for us. It is supposed to move in ways that are unexpected, to bring forth changes and leaders that are not seen by everybody as good or bad. This is the way the system works. And I'm going to tell you right now, the last thing this country needs today, and I'm going to say this as someone that's been in business since 1979 and grew up in an academic household, and I went to the East Coast, and I'm educated in the European intellectual tradition. And I'm going to tell you right now, the last thing that this country needs now is a bunch of professors fiddling around with the cash. We have hardcore business people, Bessent in Treasury, Lutnick in Commerce, and Donald Trump, deal maker extraordinaire, running the show. And we got these pundits saying that Donald Trump bankrupted 6 companies. Hey, guess what? That's what happens when you're an entrepreneur. You create things, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. What's the net takeaway? He's very successful and has a big company. And if you haven't done it, don't criticize it because you don't understand it. It's like putting popcorn in the popcorn maker. When you put popcorn in a popcorn maker, not all the kernels become popcorn. There's some on the bottom, you got to throw it away. It didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work. You don't know why it didn't work. It was a good idea. It didn't work. That's what it is in business. Some things work, some things don't. And over the course of a lifetime, you come to understand more and more what is and isn't going to be successful. Right now, we got our best shot at fixing a broken economy. It's broken. And that is why President Trump is proposing these tariffs. Number one, we need the money. The tariff rate is going to end up being, in my opinion, about 25% on everything coming in the country. And I say that because President Trump keeps saying that tariffs are going to generate $1 trillion a year in new federal income. We have $4 trillion of imports. So 25% of 4 trillion is 1 trillion. He's telling us where we're heading. And now he has proposed very onerous reciprocal tariffs, which are bringing 70 countries to the negotiating table to come up with a new idea. Let's watch a clip of Peter Navarro, the advisor to the president on these issues.
Any other way.
So we've got a graphic that shows other recent trade deal negotiations. Okay, we can put it up for viewers. With Central America, 16 months. The USMCA, 15 months. South Korea, 14 months. Australia, 14 months. We tried to do it with the UK, our strongest allies. It was paused after 3 years and 7 months. How can you do
Casey,
any single one of these in 90 days, let alone all of them?
Hang on, you're missing the whole point. Those kind of deals. Yes, let me explain. The kind of deals like the renegotiation and NAFTA and all of that, that's governed by a set of rules and laws that will take time to do that. What we're going to do is
but like the US-UK one is not under that.
We have the capability.
It's bilateral and direct.
Yeah, Casey.
Continue.
I'm telling you, we have the ability to come up with a deal. Jameson Greer, Howard Lutnick, Scott Bessent, whoever's sitting in the room with Japan or South Korea, the boss is going to be the lead negotiator, and we can get that done. And one of the things we're going to do is you're seeing all those law firms that are giving us like $100 million at a crack of free legal advice. We're going to hopefully have them very much involved in all of this, and we do stuff in Trump time, which is to say as quickly as possible. So do you think we can get a deal done? Yes, we're going to get those things done very quickly.
Yes, we are. We the people. And why is that? Because President Trump's a businessman. He's not a bureaucrat. These processes of developing these trade agreements take so long because they are burdened with administrative, bureaucratic, and international rules that have been developed since 1946. And every president and every trade negotiator since 1946 have been working progressively to strengthen, to expand, and to enact a world economy through the World Trade Organization. That's done. President Trump has blown that up. President Trump's going to sit down with people and talk to them plain. What you want to do? Do you want to have access to the United States market, or do you want to go home? You tell me, because here's my terms. It's up to you.